Deep within the sacred stories of the First Nations lie dark entities rarely spoken of, demons older than written history, born from fire, shadow, and vengeance. These spirits haunted ancient forests, whispered through the wind, and punished those who broke nature's balance. Tonight, we journey into the heart of Native American legends to uncover the forgotten demons you've never heard of, creatures that blur the line between protector and destroyer. From the Wendigo's endless hunger to spirits that dwell beneath the earth, prepare to face the unseen terrors of the indigenous underworld. This is Demons in Native American Legends. Demons in Native American Legends you've never heard. Across the vast lands of North America, from the icy tundra of the Inuit to the deserts of the Navajo, Native American mythology holds a rich and haunting tapestry of spirits, some benevolent, others deeply malevolent. While mainstream audiences may know trickster gods like Coyote or cultural heroes like Raven, there exists a darker pantheon of entities rarely spoken of outside tribal circles. These are the demons and shadow beings, creatures of hunger, vengeance, and despair, that lurk in the myths of the first peoples of the Americas. These entities were not simply evil in the Western, Christian sense. Many represented the balance of nature, the necessary destroyers, the warnings, and the punishers of taboo. Their purpose was often moral, spiritual, or environmental, to teach respect for nature, community, and the spiritual order. What follows is an exploration of several obscure and terrifying demonic beings found across Native American lore, spirits you've likely never heard of, yet whose echoes still haunt the land. 1. The Chinoo, the ice cannibal of the Wabanaki. In the legends of the Wabanaki Confederacy, which includes the Mi'kmaq, Penobscot, and Passamaquoddy tribes of the northeastern United States and eastern Canada, there exists a fearsome creature known as the Chinoo, or giants of ice. The Chinoo was once a human being, a man or woman who became cursed by their own greed, rage, or hatred. These dark emotions froze their hearts until they literally turned to ice. In this transformation, their humanity was stripped away, leaving behind a monstrous being with an insatiable hunger for human flesh. Unlike the Wendigo, to which it is often compared, the Chinoo was not a mere symbol of starvation, it was a reflection of spiritual coldness. The Wabanaki believed that hatred and cruelty could physically alter the soul, turning a person into something inhuman. The Chinoo was said to wander through frozen forests, its body as tall as trees, its breath freezing everything it touched. One chilling detail from oral stories describes that if a Chinoo's icy heart were melted, through acts of compassion or ritual purification, the human could be restored. In this way, the Chinoo embodied both ultimate damnation and the possibility of redemption. It serves as a dire warning: those who let hatred consume them may become demons in both spirit and flesh. 2. The Stikini, heart-eating owl witches of the Seminole. Among the Seminole people of the southeastern United States, tales persist of the Stikini, horrifying witches who can transform into owls and feed on human hearts. By day, the Stikini live as ordinary people within the tribe, often old women or outcasts who are shunned for their strangeness. But by night, they undergo a gruesome ritual transformation, vomiting up their internal organs and hanging them in trees before assuming the form of giant, shadowy owls. In this form, they fly silently through the night, seeking victims to devour. When they find prey, the Stikini rips open the chest to feast on the still-beating heart, a ritual that both sustains and empowers them. At dawn, they return to their human form by swallowing back their own organs. These beings are so feared that even speaking their name is considered dangerous. In some Seminole communities, uttering Stikini aloud could summon one or draw its attention. To ward them off, medicine men used special charms and kept fires burning through the night. While Westerners might see this as a vampire-like myth, the Stikini represent something uniquely native: the corruption of balance. They are those who reject community and harmony, feeding on the lifeblood of others to sustain their unnatural power. 3. The water babies, drowned spirits of the Great Basin. In the myths of the Paiute, Shoshone, and other tribes of the Great Basin region, a strange and eerie race of creatures known as water babies haunt lakes and rivers. They are described as small, childlike beings with pale skin, long hair, and the sound of a crying infant. Their cries echo through the night, luring travelers or mothers toward the water's edge. When the victim approaches, believing a real child to be in distress, the water baby pulls them beneath the surface, drowning them instantly. Some traditions describe the water babies as vengeful spirits of children who were drowned or abandoned by their families. Others say they are elemental beings, water demons that punish those who disrespect sacred lakes. Pyramid Lake in Nevada is particularly infamous for its water baby stories. Locals claim that anyone who hears the baby's cry is marked for death, and the lake's mysterious drownings are attributed to their wrath. Symbolically, the water babies represent grief and guilt, reminders of broken responsibilities and the consequences of human cruelty. Their legend also functions as a warning to respect the power and sanctity of water, a sacred element in native belief systems. 4. The Kachina's Shadow, the Chindi of the Navajo. The Navajo, Dine, people have a deep spiritual worldview centered on balance, Hojo, the harmony of all things. Anything that disrupts that balance can give birth to dark forces. Among these are the Chindi, shadowy remnants of a person's negative energy after death. When someone dies, the Navajo perform elaborate rituals to ensure the spirit passes safely to the next world. But if a person dies violently, with unresolved anger, or without proper ceremony, their Chindi lingers. This entity carries only the worst aspects of the deceased, hatred, envy, pain, and can bring sickness, misfortune, and death to anyone it touches. The Chindi is invisible to most but manifests as a dry wind that spreads disease through homes and families. To avoid its curse, the Navajo traditionally abandon the home of the deceased, letting it decay into the desert. Even today, some avoid touching dead bodies or speaking of the dead by name to prevent attracting these malevolent remnants. What makes the Chindi particularly haunting is its realism. It's not a grotesque monster but a psychological demon, a spiritual reflection of the darker sides of human emotion, lingering in the air like a curse. 5. The Two-Face, Sharp Elbows, the Sioux demon of deceit. In the mythology of the Lakota Sioux, the entity known as Two-Face, or Sharp Elbows, sinister woman, is a demonic being with a horrific appearance, beautiful on one side and monstrously scarred on the other. She often appears as a woman who seduces men, hunters, or wanderers into isolation before revealing her second, twisted face and striking them dead with her sharp, bony elbows. Her victims are found lifeless, eyes open in terror, with no visible wounds. According to Sioux tradition, Two-Face was once a mortal woman who broke sacred taboos, either by mocking the Great Spirit or committing an act of moral corruption. As punishment, she was cursed with her dual appearance, embodying both temptation and deceit. She serves as both a warning and a moral lesson, that beauty can conceal corruption, and that dishonesty, especially in relationships or spirituality, leads to destruction. Some Sioux elders interpret her legend as a reminder of the dual nature of humanity, capable of kindness and cruelty, truth and deceit. 6. The Ots Hen, cannibal spirits of the Innu. Far to the north, in the cold forests of Labrador and Quebec, the Innu people speak of the Ots Hen, a race of demonic, frost-covered beings that stalk hunters through the wilderness. The Ots Hen are often compared to the Wendigo, but they are more spirit than flesh. They move like shadows through snowstorms, their skin blue and their bodies gaunt. They feast on the living and the dead alike, drawn to the smell of human fear. According to the Innu, the Ots Hen dwell between the worlds of the living and the dead, emerging during times of famine or despair. When humans resort to selfishness or cannibalism, the Ots Hen appear to punish them, sometimes even transforming them into one of their own. In traditional tales, only powerful shamans could banish an Ots Hen. They use songs, tobacco smoke, and fire, symbols of warmth and humanity, to repel these cold spirits. The Achans myth reinforced communal survival ethics, to share food, to care for others, and to never let greed overtake compassion. They remind listeners that the greatest evil may come not from monsters outside, but from what humans become when their hearts grow cold. 7. The Paisar, or the shadow trickster of the Cherokee. Among the Cherokee, tales are told of the Paisar, a demonic shape-shifting being that dwells in dark forests and preys on lost travelers. Unlike the helpful trickster rabbit or spider, the Paisar is malicious. It delights in confusing, tormenting, and ultimately devouring humans. It can appear as an animal, a shadow, or even a familiar face. Those who encounter the Paisar often report hearing laughter echoing through the woods, followed by disorienting fog and whispers that drive them mad. The Paisar is said to feed not on flesh but on fear. Its victims wander endlessly until they die of exhaustion or madness. In some stories, it guards sacred places, punishing those who enter without proper offerings or intent. Cherokee elders viewed it as both demon and teacher, an enforcer of humility, punishing arrogance and disrespect toward nature. To survive the Paisar's tricks, one had to maintain spiritual focus, purity, and courage. 8. The Mahaha, the laughing demon of the Inuit. In the frozen north, where the Arctic winds howl endlessly, the Inuit tell tales of a terrifying yet eerie demon called the Mahaha. The Mahaha is a blue-skinned, gaunt figure with long claws and wild hair. It moves silently across the tundra, grinning from ear to ear. But what makes it most terrifying is its method of killing. It tickles its victims to death. Victims are found frozen, faces twisted into smiles, as if mocking their own demise. The Mahaha's laughter echoes across the ice, blending with the wind. It is said to emerge during storms, feeding on isolation and despair. Though the Mahaha's actions seem absurd, its symbolism is profound. It represents the cruel indifference of nature, how even beauty and laughter can turn deadly in the Arctic's unforgiving landscape. Some stories say it can be defeated only by trickery. If one invites the Mahaha to look into water, it becomes so fascinated by its own reflection that it falls in and drowns. 9. The Owl Witch, Skaidgamutk, the ghost of the Passamaquoddy. In Passamaquoddy and Micmac legend, the Skaidgamutk, or Owl Witch, is a terrifying fusion of ghost and vampire. It appears as a luminous figure, half human, half owl, who drinks the blood and life force of its victims at night. Like the Stikini, the Skaidgamutk was once a human sorcerer who gained dark power through forbidden magic. When they died, their spirit refused to rest, instead rising each night in a glowing body of mist. Their haunting cry, half scream, half hoot, could be heard before they attacked. The only way to stop a Skaidgamutk was to find and destroy its corpse, usually through burning, a clear echo of European vampire traditions, but rooted in the unique spiritual worldview of the Wabanaki peoples. The Skaidgamutk embodies the danger of forbidden knowledge and the thin line between life and death, a warning that the misuse of spiritual power can turn one into the very evil they seek to control. 10. The Horned Serpent, the ancient enemy. Nearly every major Native American tribe has some version of the Horned Serpent, a vast, demonic water spirit that symbolizes chaos, destruction, and forbidden wisdom. Among the Cherokee, it is called Aktina, to the Ojibwe, Mishipeshu, to the Choctaw, Sint-Holo. Despite regional differences, its essence remains the same, the massive serpent covered in shimmering scales, crowned with antlers, and radiating deadly power. The horned serpent dwells in deep waters and is said to control storms, lightning, and floods. Those who encounter it are either destroyed or forever changed. Warriors who slay it gain immense spiritual power, but often go mad from the visions it imparts. It is both a demon and a god, symbolizing the untamable forces of nature and the peril of seeking power beyond human limits. In this sense, it mirrors the Promethean myth, knowledge gained at a terrible cost. Shadows with purpose. Native American demonology is not a catalogue of mere monsters, it is a reflection of moral, environmental, and spiritual laws. These beings, whether ice giants, owl witches, or laughing demons, exist to maintain the balance between the seen and unseen worlds. The spirits of these ancient tales remind us that not all demons dwell in fire and brimstone, some walk the forests, stalk the snow, and linger in the echoes of forgotten prayers. These native legends aren't just horror stories, they are warnings, lessons, and reflections of balance between man and nature. If you've enjoyed exploring these haunting myths, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this journey into the unknown. And remember, some stories are told not to entertain, but to keep you safe. Until next time, stay curious, and beware what lurks beyond the firelight.